RIP Halloween Horror Nights 30, another exclusive UOAP dining area, and more. You are listening to episode 413 of the Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. Hi everyone, it's Christina here, and I am filling in for Tracy this week. I am joined with Lee.
Hello everyone.
Darren.
What's up, Internet? Hello.
And Chris.
Hey, what's up?
It's so weird. It's weird. It feels weird.
It feels weird for me too. It's okay.
I'm trying to think if anybody but the main host has ever hosted a show before, and I don't think anybody has.
I can't think of one.
I was wondering that when you asked me if I wanted to, actually.
Suck it, Jillian.
Oh, she's going to be upset about that.
Oh, yes.
But let's get down to business. We're going to start this week like we always do with Producers Club birthdays. So first, on July 28th, we have to wish a happy birthday to Chuck Schaller. Happy birthday, Chuck.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
On August 6th, we have a very happy birthday to Rich Cotter.
Happy birthday, Rich.
My boy, Rich.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And August 9th, happy birthday, Gabe Montoya. Happy birthday, Gabe.
Happy birthday, dude.
Happy birthday, Gabe.
Happy birthday, Gabe. Have a drink for us.
And last but not least, on August 10th, we have my best friend's birthday, the one and only Miss God's Pocket. Happy birthday, Jillian Dunn.
Happy birthday, Jillian.
Happy birthday, Jillian.
Happy birthday.
Woo!
Christina messaged me yesterday when I sent her the notes, and she's like, oh, it's perfect. I get to wish Jillian a happy birthday on the show.
Nice.
I know, it's kismet. It was meant to be.
It certainly was. Happy birthday, everyone.
Yes.
Yes, happy birthday. So we have to start off this week with talking about the biggest news we've probably heard in months, and that is the cancellation of Halloween Horror Nights. Darren?
Mm-hmm. Yes, well, let's bring it down from those birthday wishes. Universal Orlando Resort and Universal Studios Hollywood both have made the difficult decision to not hold Halloween Horror Nights events this year. Universal Orlando will be focusing exclusively on operating its theme parks for daytime guests using the enhanced health safety procedures already in place. And Hollywood continues to face ongoing business restrictions and uncertainty around its opening time frame. Kind of tough.
Yeah, I forgot they haven't even opened the parks yet, have they? A park.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No, none of them over in California, Disneyland either. So, we know this is a decision that is difficult, of course, to fans and guests. We are disappointed too, but we look forward to creating an amazing event in 2021, they said. So,
and that's the thing. We'll get into it. Get this last bit out of the way and we'll discuss it.
Okay, yeah. And Bill Davis posted on the team member site, he said, "Dear fellow team members, this year has played out in ways that none of us have expected. We have had to make some difficult decisions under these unprecedented circumstances. I wanted to let you know about another difficult decision we are announcing today. Universal Orlando Resort will not hold our Halloween Horror Nights event this year. I know this news is disappointing, especially since this year we would have been celebrating the 30th anniversary. I'm disappointed too, but this is the right decision for our guests and our team members," which is correct. Universal Studios Hollywood has also made the difficult decision not to hold Horror Nights this year as they continue to face ongoing business restrictions and uncertainty around their opening time frame. I want to thank all the teams for their hard work for preparing us for what would have been this year's event. For so many of us, Halloween Horror Nights is a point of pride. Every fall, we get to experience what we are capable of when we put our creativity, operational know-how, teamwork, and ingenuity to the test. Over the past 30 years, the event has grown from its humble 3-night beginnings to be named the world's best Halloween event for more than a decade running. Halloween Horror Nights is uniquely universal, and we improve on it every year. As you know, planning and development for Halloween Horror Nights is an ongoing process. We are truly fortunate to have team members put their blood, sweat, tears, and passion into Halloween Horror Nights, and I know how much our fans and guests look forward to seeing it come alive. I have every confidence that our teams will adapt and direct their energies towards making Halloween Horror Nights 2021 the ultimate homecoming of horror. Is that the tagline already? I think you got it.
Oh, yes.
Until then, I know that our team members will remain dedicated to supporting each other and delivering unforgettable guest experiences every day. For this, I am beyond grateful. Thank you for understanding and stay safe, Bill Davis.
A lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
I hope they do use that tagline because that would actually be pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's certainly better than maximum
I agree.
screamage, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely the right decision. I think we've talked about it a lot over the last 8 to 10 shows, and just trying logistically to think how they were going to put Horror Nights on and make it even a tiny bit of the event that it normally is a headache I wouldn't want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was a straight up logistical nightmare to plan an event like that. And I mean, we said it time and time again that, we didn't see it happening, but Universal was pushing on forward like nobody's business. And they made the call. I think they made the right call on doing this because it would not have been Horror Nights as we know it.
No.
It would have been
Agreed.
just some kind of watered down version of it. You would have had a bunch of guests angry, like, oh, why even do this if it's, this level of effort, and not on Universal's part, right? Not that they don't want to put on that event, but things are different right now, and we all got to accept that and kind of push forward and see what we can do next year. So I think they did the right decision, as much as it hurts.
And that's the exciting thing at this point, to know going into next year's event, knowing they really have to knock it out of the park to make up for it not being hosted for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, next year's got to be something special.
And having that much more time to develop these
Yeah.
ideas, it's got to be positive.
That's
In a way.
that's true. Do you think they're going to keep any of the originals or ideas that they had planned for?
I think so. I think they will, especially the originals, the IPs if they can. From the rumors I heard, that might have been the issue. Is a couple of the IPs pulling out. That's why we had such a sudden departure. So I don't know if that's true or not. That's just speculation.
I think you've said that before, Darren. It's like, would you want your intellectual property being tied to an event this year that isn't what it was supposed to be? And the answer is no, you wouldn't really. You want everyone to see it. You don't want the hardcore.
And if something were to happen,
yes,
that
that's
time,
very true
too,
as
that would
well.
not be good.
Exactly. It would be horrible press.
Yeah.
You mean like some event happening in the park?
What? Yeah, like contact tracing, going back and saying, okay, yeah, this all originated here at Horror
Oh
Nights.
yeah,
At
for sure.
Halloween
Yeah.
Horror Nights.
I mean, I
Due to their
think
line
even
management.
the flip side of that, imagine if they did press forward with all this and statewide they just issue a mandate to shut down. I mean, that's a lot of money as
Yeah,
well that they
very
did.
true.
Something that they lose out on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It will be interesting to see. I was talking to Tracy about this the other night. How many of those, to whether they do just literally mothball, because we've got to assume that at this point you would assume everything's just about done as far as house prep goes. So whether they will literally just mothball it and roll it out for next year, or whether they'll take the chance to go, maybe we could do something different from that. Because I was looking at the spec map for last year, because we've talked about HH Nightmare spec map being pretty spot on. And version 2 of their spec map from last year that came out, I think it was the beginning of May, was, barring the names, completely on the nose. Like exactly what the event was last year, and that was like 6 months out. So you could look at the spec map this year and go, that's probably about what it's going to be. So we'll have a good idea of how much that carries over into next year now.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think will happen inside of the tribute store?
I could actually see them not opening it at this point.
They have confirmed that they are opening it.
Okay.
Yes. Universal did on Twitter. They haven't given the details out yet, but they said that they're still going to have it open.
In fairness, they've been saying Horror Nights is going ahead for the last 3 months as well, but it's not.
Well, the throwback merch is still appropriate,
Yes.
I think.
I assume that's what you expect them to sell, is just that throwback stuff and nothing from that would have been there for the event this year.
Other than like maybe unbranded things. Yeah, I don't expect to see anything that was like branded for the event this year now.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see even further, retro merch being expanded, since they don't have, year 30 merch to sell.
Yeah.
So they'll start selling all this retro stuff, people are still going to want to buy it, right?
Yeah.
Because you're celebrating Universal and Horror Nights and all the history there. Make a really cool tribute store, sell all this product. You're going to make a bunch of money there, and at least kind of, recoup some money that you would normally have made during that time frame.
Yep.
I'll gladly
because
throw
that's
money.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that's a key thing to note too, is just, Halloween Horror Nights is their money maker.
Yeah.
So going into next year, knowing that they're going to have a season where they do not have that income coming in, and we know that, the low crowds that are there, that people who go are talking about, they're not having their normal revenues that they normally would have either. I'm wondering if the budgetary restraints might affect HHN next year. That's my only concern.
Possibly. Yeah, there's so much grey area with it. It's like you look at, we're saying that the tribute shop will open and people will buy it, but then how much merch do they normally sell by people who aren't hardcore Horror Nights fans that go, oh, we'll go and check it out, absolutely love it, and then drop a ton of merch on the way out? The parks aren't busy, so you haven't got that influx of Horror Nights fans going into the parks to buy that stuff. It's going to be those vloggers and bloggers and podcasters and stuff that will probably end up spending the most money. Those, the people the influencers on Instagram, that type of people. You're not going to have that influx of people who are going for a couple of days, absolutely fall in love with the event and drop a ton on merch. So it's going to be interesting to see how much they do sell, actually.
True.
Mm-hmm.
And then also going forward to next year, how much of an impact not having an event this year will have. A lot of people are already calling it for over both parks again. I can't see that happen. I think we've talked about it a lot. I could see them extending it even further next year. I could see it going for 2 full months quite easily.
Yeah.
I think I saw a meme somewhere where it's like, somebody's like, oh, I want 25 houses.
Yeah.
15 scare zones, 5 for next year.
Yeah. I think they've got to go all out, haven't they? Because they know they've got to appease the fans that weren't there this year and try and claw some of the money back that they've lost this year.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised next year that, we get all of our normal stuff that we're used to, and then a bunch of extra kind of, additional cost events that are even going on in there.
Yes.
I can definitely see that. I hope they expand between both parks. It was really cool when they did back, 2004? 2004? Okay. It was cool back then. I mean, from what I remember, because it's a long time ago, but I'd be down for that. It's something new. It's something different. We already know how packed the parks are now with Horror Nights. So if you can spread out the crowds that way and make it feasible, make it work, why not?
I worry what Christina said. It's how much is that the money they're going to lose this year have an impact on it. I'm sure they're going to want to do it. It's whether they're going to give them the money to do it.
I think they will, personally, because yes, they may not have, all the money they would have made this year for next year, but this is NBC as well. There's deep pockets, and it's a return on investment, right? Yeah, you got to shell out a bunch of money, but what's the return on that? And I think they're pretty well, they have a lot of history of how much money they're going to make on events like this. So with the lack of an event this year, I think people are going to swarm next year that maybe wouldn't have gone this year, or that we're going to go this year and not next year. And then you're going to have even more going next year. That's kind of my thought.
Yeah, I could see that.
But then also look, is it going to impact the event in a negative way, having more people there?
True. If they do keep some of the originals, especially because I feel like hardcore HHN fans were very pumped about this lineup. I know I was. If they do keep some of those originals, that cuts some of their cost in their budget for next year for HHN, so hopefully that'll mean that they can provide us.
That is a very good point.
I'd be all about that icon house and the anniversary house.
Hey, if they want to do all
but
originals,
also there were some
I'm down.
IPs that were really cool. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's weird to go back to the event when it was just all originals.
Yeah.
Well, that's, never really technically.
What, not originals? I'm pretty sure when we did it in 2004, when it was, I'm going to humble brag a little bit now, when it was over both parks, and I don't think there were all originals.
Like Horror Nights 2 had people under the stairs in it, so.
Yeah, but that, like I say, I've got the park map. That 2004 there was no IPs in there at all. Maybe
Really?
there was stuff that was kind of influenced by other things, but they were all.
What about the Marvel one? I guess
There wasn't one that was the year before. That was when it was just in Islands of Adventure. In 2004, when it was over both parks, there wasn't anything IP even remotely.
I am looking at the map now.
I'm old, but I'm not that old. I think I remember. It was a long time ago. Because there was Horror Nights on Wax, there was Horror Nights Nightmares, there was Ghost Town, the Disorientorium, Castle Vampire or Vampire, depending on how you pronounce it. Because there was only... Chris, have you got the map there? How many was there? 7?
I have the map here, but it's not showing me the houses, which is
I
weird.
think it was 7. That was Deadtropolis.
Yeah, okay. There's
And then
Ghost
Hellgate
Town,
Prison.
Freight Yard, Midway. Yeah, these are all originals here.
Yeah. The Fright Yard was a scare zone.
Your memory scares me, Lee. Really
It was
does.
the first night it was the first year we ever did Horror Nights, and I fell in love with that event.
Well, if we want to get technical, Bill and Ted's was there, so
Oh, okay. Houses we're talking about.
gotcha there, buddy. We gotcha.
I'll let you have that
No,
one
yeah,
on a
that's
technicality.
all original. That's cool.
Yeah.
I would be down for an all original one again. I have no problem with that.
No.
I understand why they do the IPs because it gives you, from like us coming over last year, it gives you can have that month to 2 month prep before you come in watching all the films and stuff to get yourself hyped for it. Whereas when it's originals, you haven't really got that. You don't know what you're getting until you get there. So it's
Also,
it's a 50
drawing the crowds that like a certain
Of course.
IP, right? Like when Stranger Things was there. I mean,
Yes.
that was a amazing decision on their end, but I can see why they do it.
All the 14-year-old girls that would have been there this year for Billie Eilish.
Yeah.
And me.
Are there any IPs that were like on the speculation map that you guys would hope would come back?
Beetlejuice.
Because like for me,
Beetlejuice,
I think Beetlejuice. Yeah.
That's about
Definitely.
it, really.
I
I
heard good
liked-
things about the Billie Eilish house, actually, to be honest. So I'm hoping it comes back next year because from what I heard, it was going to be a pretty creepy, cool house.
Okay.
I had an open mind about the Billie Eilish house. I didn't know much about her music or anything. And then when she was suggested, I looked at some of her videos and some of them are really creepy. They have a good vibe to them. But I really like The Haunting of Hill House.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
forgot about that one. I mean, I loved
be
the
like
show. The
A
show was
haunted
amazing.
house.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I wonder how they would translate that to a house and how good it would be. I wouldn't mind seeing that one.
It wasn't one that jumped out. I mean, we watched the TV show. It was okay, but it wasn't one I'd be like, oh. Not Buffy. Sabrina was the one that got me. That was on the original spec list, and then they changed it, and I was like, oh, gutted.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
So who knows? We may get. You never know. It'd be interesting to see, like I say, whether they do literally just wrap it all up in cotton wool and then leave it for next year and then just roll it all out.
Yeah.
They have like real like cobwebs.
Yeah.
That's true.
If Sith's still a thing next year, who knows? It's weird that you think, who knows how much of an effect on the event this is going to have anyway.
Yeah.
You know, no one knows what the world's going to look like this time next year. We still could be feeling the impact of it.
That's true.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You'd also have to see, I guess, how the economy is too.
Yeah.
I guess that does make sense. If nobody's traveling or spending money, how much are we going to put into this event? So, a lot of variables there.
It's frightening to think how much money they lose this year. Because I know a lot of people that come over from the UK just for Horror Nights.
Yeah, for sure.
And
It's
I think
so-
that was part of the decision to like cancel
Possibly.
because they can't have anyone outside of the country come. And
Yeah.
then even in the US, state to state, there's like different quarantine expectations if you travel. So I think that makes it really hard for anyone out of state to come.
It's just so weird. Like, I don't think we'll ever really know exactly what it was. My brain wonders, like, what was the catalyst that made them just up until this point do all this and then just say, forget it. We're not going to do it. Because, I mean, travel restrictions were not going to change between, when would be the first weekend? Like less than a month from now or a month from now?
September 10th, wasn't it? September,
So
something like
a little
that.
over a month. things weren't going to change that drastically. And we've been seeing, things getting worse for the past months, right? This is not something new that just happened. So, it's just kind of the brain kind of starts going and
I'll just say a certain convention was ended a couple of days before that. So that's all I'll say.
I thought IAPA was still going ahead.
Oh,
the weekend is not until next year, Darren.
Oh
yeah.
Yes.
I was watching Tracker today, and he had mentioned that there's no word yet if Hollowscream is gonna get canceled.
Yeah, no, they.
But that's Busch Gardens, so
I think Darren's yeah, COVID City.
Yeah. Ratchetville.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's weird that they haven't though. Yeah. I think now you look now at the big hit. Well, I don't know, because you could think it depends how cavalier they are. You could go, well, there's no Mickey's Not So Scary and there's no Halloween Horror Nights. We could capitalize on the people that aren't going to that event. Or do
they don't have
year ever.
They don't have IPs to worry about, and they're not like Disney where they have to worry about their own IPs.
Yeah.
They basically repeat most of their houses every year and have one or two new houses. So, and they're all originals. So I don't think it's as big of a concern for them to make a decision now as it was for other ones that have those outside pressures.
Yeah,
I'd say.
And do they keep those houses, like the ones that they repeat? Do they keep those up year round for the most part?
Some of them, yeah. The ones that are like in areas where they can permanently leave them there, yeah.
Okay.
They've got like the meat market that's out in the middle of the parade grounds that has to come down every year. So
is that's the one that when we went, it was the like roaches in the beginning of that house, like that.
No, that's Motel Hell. That one stays up year round.
That was a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one gets that mildew and mustiness from just
for real.
Yeah.
I've never been to Hollowscream, but it is somewhere I really want to go at some point. I know, Darren, you always say it's pretty good.
Yes.
That was my first time going, and I had a lot of fun. Bang for buck, it's amazing. But it's not the same level as, Horror Nights and repeatability, that kind of stuff.
But if you go in with that expectation, then it's what you expect, isn't it? Like I've said, the Scream Factory, the one we go to down the road from us, again, it's not a Halloween Horror Night in any way, shape, or form, but we have an absolute blast in there. It's amazing for what they have and what they do. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Christine, have you been to Hollowscream before?
No, I haven't. Up by me, I'm like in the DC area, and so we have Six Flags America. So I've been to Fright Fest, which is theirs, but I haven't been to Hollowscream.
Cool. Got to support your local haunts.
I feel like we should just take a minute's silence for Halloween Horror Nights.
Should overlay a chainsaw.
Yeah.
That'll do anyway. It's just weird, isn't it? It's like you'll never see, well, we hope we'll never see this again. It's like even when 9/11 happened, it changed the event, but it didn't cancel. This is literally, it's not happening. Thank you, COVID-19. We love you.
Yeah. Hurricanes. All kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
The selfish me is glad that, they're doing this because they shouldn't have been doing the event, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I didn't really want to go if it was happening, and I'd have to miss an event. I have to break my streak, and it's the selfish me. So now I don't get to lose anything. I get to go next year.
Yeah.
Oh, my dilemma.
That's exactly where I'm coming at it from. It's like we knew we weren't coming out this year. They've cancelled it, so I'm not sitting at home watching everyone else go, even though I know it's not the event I want it to be. But it's still like,
We had just canceled our trip too, so I selfishly was like relieved that it was canceled.
So next year, hopefully a big event.
Yep.
So now we're going to take a quick break and hear an ad from our sponsors at Mouse and Muggle.
Have you taken a stroll down Diagon Alley and visited Gringotts Bank? Taken a ride through New York with Jimmy Fallon? Visited the Truffalo Trees in Seuss Landing or hung out with a real-life Transformer? No? Then what are you waiting for? At Universal Orlando Resort, there truly is an option for everyone. Or if you're leaning a little more towards pixie dust rather than wands and potions, Disney destinations around the globe await your arrival. No matter the adventure, our sponsors have you covered. Be sure to let the experts at Mouse and Muggle Travel Company take care of all your travel needs. earning the distinction of being an earmarked agency specializing in Disney destinations, as well as becoming one of the first to be named a U-Preferred agency with Universal Parks and Resorts Vacations. Mouse and Muggle Travel Company will ensure you receive top-rated customer service. Just visit mouseandmuggle.com to fill out a no-obligation quote request, or send your request to info@mouseandmuggle.com. Their team can take care of you no matter where in the world you want to go. With a flick of their wand and a little bit of pixie dust, the process will be so seamless, some might even say it's simply magical.
And welcome back. We're going to now hear from Seth Kabursky with all the little things from around Universal.
Hey, this is Seth Kabursky, author of the Unofficial Guide to Universal Orlando, and I am back with a look at all the little things that are new at the resort. This is going to be kind of a sad edition of Little Things. Let's jump right into it. Halloween Horror Nights 30 at Universal Orlando has been canceled, along with Halloween Horror Nights 2020 at Universal Studios Hollywood. I was actually at Universal Studios sitting and waiting for the horror makeup show to begin when the announcement came across. Obviously, a lot of sad Halloween Horror Night fans, though I think we can all understand the reasons why this has been canceled in the face of the pandemic. A couple of bright lights, though, in the Halloween department. Halloween Horror Nights merchandise was released online on the official Universal Studios store, and they actually released a bunch of Fright Nights merchandise tied to the year 1990. Unfortunately, Fright Nights, which was the original name for Halloween Horror Nights, didn't actually start till 1991. So if you did manage to get your hands on some of those pins or posters, you've got a great collectible that should be quite valuable on eBay. If you didn't get any Halloween merchandise yet, don't worry. The Halloween Horror Nights Tribute Store looks like it is set to open this week. There were rumors that it was going to open on Friday. I did stop by, and while the facade has been built, there's still work going on inside. However, as the Halloween Horror Nights store gets set to open, another favorite store at Universal Studios Florida has closed. The Williams of Hollywood Prop Shop in the Hollywood area, where you can purchase items that were actually used inside the parks, is currently closed. Hopefully that will reopen for business before too long. Williams of Hollywood is not the only location that has changed its operating hours lately. Over in Islands of Adventure, I've noticed that Sweet Haven, the island where Popeye and Bluto's Build-Rat Barges is located, along with Me Ship the Olive, is now blocked off until 11 a.m., and Confisco restaurant near the front of Islands of Adventure is not opening until noon. On the other hand, the Cowfish restaurant in City Walk is reopening. It began serving guests again this weekend and is operating Thursday through Sunday from 4 p.m. till 10 p.m. Another food opening to keep an eye on, a new Central Park Crepe Kiosk is coming to Universal Studios Florida, just outside of Cafe La Bamba. This new kiosk is going to serve both savory crepes with ingredients like chicken or beef brisket, along with sweet crepes with strawberries and Nutella. We're going to take a quick dive into Volcano Bay. I'm happy to report over there that the Punga Racers slides have reopened. These slides open with the park as mat racer slides, where you would lie down face first on a rubber mat and slide down to the bottom. Unfortunately, the splashdown area was never quite long enough, and there were injuries reported. So the bottom half of the slides has been rebuilt by a different manufacturer than who originally made it, and is no longer a mat slide, but is now just a body slide. The weight limit has been brought back up, so most guests should now be able to enjoy the Punga Racers. And finally, as you head out of the resort, take a look at the gift shop kiosk in the parking hub. This is a great spot if you are looking for Universal-themed face masks. This is the first location in the resort where I found they consistently have in stock the Hogwarts school house color face masks. Slytherin, Gryffindor, and Ravenclaw are all currently available. Unfortunately, I have not yet seen any Hufflepuff face masks. All right, that'll do it for now. I'm Seth Kaburski from the Unofficial Guides, and I'll be back in a couple more weeks with more little things from around the Universal Orlando Resort.
As a semi-proud Hufflepuff, I know those masks are now available.
So Seth wasn't kidding around. I found this Horror Nights pin on eBay for $2,000.
Holy crap.
Yeah. Not selling.
Wow.
Well, listed.
Yes.
So,
Wow.
The seller's name is SK Guides. I don't know what that. Someone's hyping up their own stuff here. No, that's cool. It's a cool piece of merch, but yeah, not 2,000 cool.
Yes, a lot of people jumped on the fact that Horror Nights did not start in 1990.
How did that get through? I'm really curious.
Apparently, the same thing happened during 25, where
Yes.
all the merch was labeled 1990 as well.
Yeah, that was pulled
Oh, wow.
really quick. And yeah, it happens. I think they're trying, like they just try to throw it out there because it just sounds better.
Yeah.
And then it looks better on stuff. And then when people react to it, they're like, oh, okay, never mind. We'll try again in 5 years.
I have to say, the menu for that crepes place over at the entrance to Central Park looks awesome. We were.
I think it's crepe.
It looks. We looked at like every single one. You know how fussy Tracy can be. She's not. It's fine. She won't listen. There wasn't a single one she didn't go no to. She was like, yes, 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 and yes. So we're on a mission to try all of them next year.
So next year we'll have which crepe takes the cake.
Oh, there's a good
I
idea.
like
I like
that.
that. Yes. The interesting thing was I posted a picture of the menu on our social media, and most of the comments were like, "Oh, looks good. $4.19 for a Coke? You are joking."
Welcome to Florida.
Bottled water's $5.50.
It's crazy. Those smart waters, we had to get them when we were stood waiting for the Mardi Gras parade last year. It wasn't last year, was it? It was this year. Holy crap. It's been a long year.
$4.
No, it was $5.
What?
Yeah. We got them from Schwab's. Yeah, it was bloody expensive. It cost me $15 for 3 bottles of water.
Was it the pH balanced one?
Is it smart? Well, I can't remember what they are. They're like a
Smart
bigger,
Plus.
something like that, yeah. Because that's all they had.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah. pH balance for a tourist.
It didn't help. What else did he talk about? I've done that thing now. I've forgotten everything he talked about now. Oh, it's a shame that... Do you know why Williams of Hollywood's closed? Because all the merch that would have been there from Horror Nights is now not going to be there. So they've got nothing to sell.
You couldn't have gone into the archives. Come on.
Just rip the houses apart and give us what's in there now. Or even better, yeah, they could have sold that stuff for a ton.
Yeah, I said give them a couple of months. We'll start seeing it. There have been
This
select-
2x4 plank was used inside this house.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of, or not a lot, but like a couple of things that were sold over at the, call it the T2 gift shop, but the Bourne gift shop.
Oh, yeah.
That would have normally been over at Williams. So
Okay.
might want to take a look there to see if they got anything while you're there.
Yeah, that shop has no identity whatsoever. To get its Bourne identity, it wasn't on purpose either. It doesn't have any real identity, though, does it? It just sells whatever they feel like chucking in it.
Yeah. Very sterile.
Oh, no, yeah. I remember walking when we came out of doing the parade floor in February, so I got it right that time. And wow, it's like a hospital when you walk past it.
It's the white walls and lighting.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah. Everything just focus on Horror Nights, isn't it? It's just so sad.
And we're going to have to cancel the show for a few months in between.
No, we're not. Don't worry. I've got, for those worrying, we have Horror Nights content coming up still. Some pretty
Yes.
good stuff, actually. I am excited.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a nice little tease into what to look forward to.
I like
But
to
now let's hear another spew.
Been working on that one. What do you guys think?
That's
Pretty
good. Sounded a bit
Alright.
lumpy.
Good.
Moving on. No, actually, we have a spew from Mark, and his goes like this. No. Loving listening to your podcast. We are meant to be going in October as a group of 14, traveling from Dundee. We'll see. Fingers crossed we get there. Our spew was in July 2017. There was 5 of us. We were at the front of the queue when the ride got a flat tire. broke down for 20, 30 minutes as we were talking amongst ourselves. William started asking questions, where we were from, have we been here before, our favorite rides, etc. Also, he had worked for Universal for years and had worked at Horror Nights. We were chatting with William for around 10, 15 minutes just before the ET ride was up and running. He asked which ride we would want to go on next. So he said Gringotts, as it was the longest queue at the time. He said, go to the front of the queue and say a certain phrase. So they went on the ET ride, and then they went up to Gringotts, said the line, and then the 5 of us were straight into the Fast Pass line.
Nice. Express.
What was that phrase?
I have a gun in my pocket.
We did go to guest services at the end of the day to say how they passed the time chatting with us, and they got us a Fast Pass for Gringotts. P.S. Being Scottish, we chanced the phrase on every ride, and it worked.
Awesome.
Wow. Awesome. Thanks, William. Yeah, of course, you Scots.
Social engineering at its finest.
Thanks, William. We still love reminiscing about that day. Some Disney and Universal podcasts love talking about the very expensive hotels and benefits and upcharges, but thankfully you do realize that most people that listen to UUOP that are going do have a budget.
Yes, because I am Northern and I have a budget, so that's why.
Of course you do, yes.
Yes.
PPS, because of the podcast, I tried the kitchen sink challenge and failed. Well, join the club with everyone else from the podcast that has done it. Thanks, and keep the podcast growing, Mark.
Oh, I can leave another tease. So speaking of the kitchen challenge and the fact that we've all failed, I am in the process of working with someone who has completed the kitchen challenge, and hopefully she will be coming on shortly.
What?
Ooh.
But Tracy's been on the show before. What are you talking about?
I know. She is a tiny, tiny woman who can eat, is all I will say at this point. Jesus, she can eat.
Interesting.
To put it in perspective, she's 5'2" and weighs 125 pounds, and she can pack it away.
Wow.
You guys might. I'm not gonna give it away, but there's apparently a restaurant in Texas that's world famous for the 72-ounce steak that they do.
Yes.
She completed it in 40 minutes.
Wow.
Wow.
And didn't really put herself out either. She can eat. Yes. I'll jump in with that one then.
Crazy.
So yes, if you have a SPEW, we want to hear them. Like we've said before, the team members are going above and beyond just being at the parks every day for everyone at the moment. It is a tough job, especially now. So if you've had any team members that have gone out the way to make your trip better or recover a situation or whatever it was, give them a shout out on the show. Just email a little story like Mark did to us at podcast@uopodcast.com and we will share them on the show.
Doesn't have to be recent. Last trip that you went on, anything. Just, yep. I think it'd be good to get one from everybody, to be honest.
Yeah.
Make us do an entire episode of
that.
Them.
Would actually be really good.
Mm-hmm.
So just like the last good interaction you had, send us an email about it.
Yeah.
I think I'll have to do that as well because I haven't sent one in yet.
Even if it was with the Ghostbusters in 1992.
Exactly.
I had a really good interaction with the Ghostbusters.
Actually, they've been
guy
quite
named Wayne Brady.
they could be quite interesting to hear from that long ago, actually.
Super nice guy. Loves singing.
So, moving on to our next topic. A few weeks ago, we talked about a UOAP exclusive dining area in Ireland, and that was the Navigators Club that previously you just had to sneak into and hope you didn't get caught. But now there's a new one that is approved and is in studios. So Chris, go ahead and tell us about that.
Of course. So, yeah, there is another UOAP exclusive dining area. That is all. So coming off the back of Universal making the Navigators Club at Islands of Adventure available for annual pass holders to dine in, which will end on August 20th, Universal are adding an exclusive area over in Universal Studios, Florida. Here is what they have posted on Facebook. We hear that you love your UOAP dining space at Confisco Grill. How does an exclusive space at Lombard's Seafood Grill sound? Awesome, right?
Where?
So, did I say Lombard's? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's right next to Lardland. So for a limited time, you can enjoy exclusive dining space at Confisco Grill. Lombard's Seafood Grill. No other details are available at this time.
Because the Facebook link linked to the website. The problem is there's nothing on the website about Lombards. It's all about, it links you to the annual pass holder perks page, and it mentions all about Confisco, but there's nothing about Lombards on there.
I think there is, though.
Unless
like a dining room up there. It might be like a third floor, because Lombards is up on the second floor. Up on the third that they very rarely use, so I'm guessing that's it.
Yeah, having a family full of not massive seafood eaters, it's not somewhere we've ever even thought about going, to be honest.
Yeah, same here. I just want to go to that Confisco Grill area.
Yeah. I don't know why they end it at the end of August, though.
Yeah, I don't know. It's because it says on the website for the Confisco Grill, it's now through August 20th.
Yeah,
I think it's similar to like what they did with Pass Holder Lounge.
And the entrance, which is just, it's like they can still do the entrance right now. It wouldn't be any problem, but I don't know. They're weird about it.
Yeah, I think it's more like it's
switch it up.
It's not a special thing if it's all the time.
True
that.
So you make people crave it, and then you bring it, and they're like, "Oh, it's amazing." And then you take it away, and it's like, "Ooh," and then you bring it back, and they're like, "Oh, thank you."
I was going to say that's when Steven Spielberg makes his annual trip, so everyone has to be out by then.
I don't think I'd be bothered about going to Lombards. I think if we were heading over there now, I'd definitely go and eat in Confisco. Like, I actually quite fancy going into Confisco anyway, but the chance to get up in the Navigators Club and just chill out in there for a little bit would be awesome. But Lombards doesn't exactly.
It wasn't terrible. I don't eat seafood either, and it wasn't a like bad place to eat. The prices were comparable to Mythos. So not really bad. A lot less than what you'd expect from like a sit down restaurant at a theme park if you're used to like Epcot prices or something like that. So
because that is the studio's signature restaurant, isn't it?
Yeah, they always put that front and center.
Yeah, but it's weird. Like no one. I know they did when Cinematic, whatever the hell it was when it first started. They were doing that dessert party thing up there, weren't they? But everyone complained if the wind was blowing in the wrong place, you got covered in spray. I know it's a strange one. I mean, the theming, you can't really theme it to anywhere else. Like, it has to be seafood being where it is. So they're kind of hamstrung a little bit because it would feel weird having a San Francisco fish market with a non-fish restaurant.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Again, they don't have to do it. I suppose it's quite nice that they have.
It is. And I'm sure that it's like a nice view if it's up on the third floor.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that will do it for another episode of the Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. Thank you for joining us. We will wrap up the show with another Universal Is. And this one comes from Shelby Bell. If you want to be involved, just drop us an email to podcast@uuopodcast.com, letting us know what you think Universal is in 3 words or less. And Shelby says, Universal is where adventure begins. See you next week.
Guess that wraps things up for another Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. You guys did all right. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Pinterest, keyword UUO Podcast. Listen and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, or anywhere podcasts are found. You can find our blog at UUOpodcast.com. Send us your spews, which Lou gets your poo recordings, questions, or comments to podcast@UUOpodcast.com. Check out our friends, the Theme Park Duo, and our awesome sponsors, Mouse and Muggle Travel Company. So, until next time, don't give up your day job. Say cheese. See you later.